Oh my God, I have so many questions. Okay, once again, filling these mysterious 2 empty seats. Let out all that pent-up energy and excitement for Rosa Salazar and Keean Johnson. Rosa, I'm going to toss you a question in a second, but first I have to confess something that a couple days ago I was talking to John, and I was just talking about like all my different experiences over the years with mocap. And then John, would you like, I know, right? So John,
you got the talk, didn't you?
I did. I got the talk.
So we feel that mocap was always missing one very key letter in front of it, an E, for emotion capture. So when we started doing Avatar, we started referring to it, once we started recording the face, at the same time we were recording the body, as performance capture. Because we want to capture the incredible performances that our cast get, and not just the motion that they give. And so we try and indoctrinate everybody in referring to it as performance capture, because that character you saw up on the screen, all of the little quirks and nuances in the face, in the scenes with Christoph and Keean and others, that's all driven directly from the performance that Rosa gave us on the set while we were filming the other characters. So we call it performance capture.
So thank you for making me hip by telling me that. So now you guys know, so you can take it and put it out into the world, because that is a great way that we can honor all of these great performances, because that's what they are now. Absolutely. It's a great point.
You know, we look at it as what we're doing with creating CG characters is we're allowing actors and actresses to play characters they could not otherwise play. If we wanted the human version of them, we would simply shoot them, but we don't. We want a character they can't play, and that's what Rosa gave us.
Okay, so let's dive into that, because I can't fathom how one would go about preparing for a role that's as physical as this, and that's so finding the balance between human and not. You know, can you just talk about starting that process? It seems like it might be overwhelming.
I was cast in the role, and then the very next morning I went into training. Jim and Robert and John were talking about, you know, you don't want to cast someone and then you get 2 takes out of her, and then she's exhausted. You know, you gotta get your endurance level up for something as physical as this. So I went into training the very next morning, and I trained for close to 5 months, for a few hours every single day. I did some Muay Thai, some Kung Fu, staff work, kickboxing, and it was all about physically preparing myself. And I did get strong, but it also mentally prepared me. I mean, the thing about martial arts is that it's mind, body, and soul. So it really helped me in all regards take on this role. Other than that, the performance capture suit was sort of, it informed also, because, you know, I'm a walking contraption at this point. I have a battery pack and a fan and a recorder and a mic and a helmet and a titanium boom and a suit, a gray suit. So I was a piece of technology walking around. And then from there, her physicality, you know, she's not a human who slouches in her seat. She does have some posture differences, but other than that, you know, she's mostly human in the way that she gestures and you know, her mannerisms. But I had to really work on my posture because, you know, she's you can see she stands very upright all the time, and that was kind of a challenge for me, because I'm very much like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, I'm like listening to you right now and realizing I'm like this.
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
Yeah, very not Alita. Keean, am I correct in saying that your background is really heavily in Broadway?
Yeah, I started dancing when I was 5, and then did a Broadway show for about 3.5 years.
Which is so intense. That's really, it's crazy hard work.
Yeah.
How did that translate into, you know, this film?
I mean, you definitely learn, this was my first film,
It's all downhill from here, dude.
It's all down. No, truly. When your first day on set,
Not for Keean, he's great in the movie. Bright future.
I don't know. When your first day on set is with Christoph Waltz, I don't know if it gets better than that. I mean, definitely learning about physicality. Starting as a dancer and acting is so much about physicality. To create a character, how he moves every single day, and then other than that, just the difference between Broadway is you always have to project, and so on film you have to learn how to be subtle. So this was definitely an interesting test in learning how to let the camera do a lot of the work.
Right, so you're not like, hello, Alita.
Exactly. That's how I did the first take, and Robert had some second thoughts on who he should cast.
One of the things that strikes me when I watch the clip of The Orange is that a certain amount of this film is about sort of the joy of discovery of what makes us human. Was that what was in the forefront of your mind while you were kind of guiding everyone?
Well, yeah, I mean, you wanted to have this it's an opportunity to see the world through someone else's eyes. In her eyes, she says she has no memory. She sees everything in a new way, in a beautiful way. And everyone else who lives there goes, we live in a dump, but she thinks it's awesome. And so she changes everyone that she meets. And so you wanted to get that from the very first eye open, that everything is amazing and everything is beautiful. And she gets a second chance at life and to see life in a different way. So it was all about that, and she just performs it so beautifully. That's what you weren't sure yet, but you saw the performance you got on set, and you were just hoping, you get 75% of that in the performance. I mean, the CG performance. And Weta is just at the top of their game. That's just how Jim rolls now. He's just like, they're doing all the effects. And he wouldn't trust it with anyone else. And they just did such phenomenal work. They had to come up with new technology to capture that, because you want the technology to go away. You want to just be able to watch it and appreciate her as a character and feel the journey that she goes on, from that first eye open to knowing exactly who she is and what she has to do by the end.
It's funny, you mentioned the orange scene, and that scene and another scene, which I'll get to in a second, they're much more difficult than the action scenes. That interaction of taking a physical prop and putting it in a CG character's mouth. And some of you might not like oranges, but we have another scene later in the movie where everybody, I think, likes chocolate, where Alita has her first bite at chocolate. And that scene has truly proven to be one of our more challenging, and we've cracked it. But it's the things you don't think about. The dog in the scene, licking her face, all of those things. Weta, Robert, Rosa, they had to make it all feel seamless.
When Jim does science fiction, he calls it more science fact. It isn't like the whimsical. It has to be really grounded, So it was about building real sets around her to interact with, and so it made it much more difficult than, say, in Avatar, where you have an alien creature in an alien world. Well, who knows what a plant really looks like? Here, if it doesn't look real, so they had the work cut out for them.